those of you in the video audience, welcome to Vivi's Vegan Menu. And I want to start with a verse here in Proverbs 19:1, where it talks about it's better to associate with a poor man who is honest than with a rich fool who is dishonest. And it really matters who our friends are, because that's going to affect our health in the long run, who we hang with. Because how they eat many times is how we eat, or their habits we pick up and take on. So tonight I want to talk about cheese. When we talk about different cheeses, we're talking tonight about cheese without the moo. Why is cheese addictive? Many times, I know for me, when I became a plant-based person, one of the hardest things for me was to give up cheese. I just wanted more. So that was probably one of the last things that I gave up. But cheese is one of the hardest habits to regulate day to day. That salty, fatty goodness makes your tongue salivate. And cheese contains casein. It also contains casein fragments called casomorphine. It's a casein-derived morphine-like compound. Dairy protein has opiate molecules built in. So when consumed, these fragments attach to the same brain receptors that heroin and narcotics do. So they are not strong enough to get you arrested, but they are just strong enough to keep you coming back for more, even while your thighs are expanding before your very eyes. So, who said this? Dr. Neil Barnard. I don't know if anybody here has heard of Dr. Barnard. Like, why should we listen to what he says? He happens to be a clinical researcher and a founding president of the Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine. If you look him up, you will find all kinds of information. He's written at least, I could find 12 books. He's been in numerous videos, and he's done lots of research. And so this book that this came out of was the author of The Cheese Trap. So I thought that was rather interesting. And sorry to say, there are no Cheese Anonymous support groups to run to in our society. And we want to look at what is in cheese. When you look at some of these cheeses, I went online and I go, one slice of American cheese, and Alicia was kind enough to bring some mild cheddar cheese here. And I also have these cubes. But if you look at one slice of cheese, 62 calories, not bad. For hers, it had 80 calories and 4.6 grams of total fat. Of that fat, about 3 grams of it is saturated. And so there's good fat and bad fat. And so with the cheese, it's obviously the bad fat. 262 milligrams of salt in one slice of cheese. Now, for Alicia's cheese, it was 135, but the fat content was almost doubled. Yeah. So there's only one way. There's several ways the food industry seasons these foods. Either salt, sugar, or fat. And so you'll watch those levels in food. You can see it, how it changes. The average American consumes 3,000 to 5,000 milligrams of salt a day. We only need about 2,300 milligrams at the most. 2,400 milligrams is 1 teaspoon. And the least we really need is about 500 milligrams a day. So we're already granted well over. So when you're getting one slice of cheese with that much, that's quite a bit. So anyway, a little bit about that. And what is in cheese? There's water, salt, artificial coloring. What color is milk?
White.
White. So why is cheese yellow? Because it's colored with colorings. And there's also flavorings, which we don't know what that is. Lecithin, enzyme-modified cheese, dehydrated cream, anhydrous milk fat, phosphoric acid, albumin from cheese whey, acetic acid, monosodium phosphate, potassium citrate, sodium tartrate, and potassium sorbate. That's in your one slice of cheese that you're eating, just to let you know. The other thing I found was that some cheeses have rennet, R-E-N-N-E-T. It's not uncommon for that to be added. Any idea what that might be from?
Calf stomach.
It's calf stomach. That's what that is. So let's see if we have some different alternatives that we can make, some cheeses. So tonight I have several that I'm going to demo. And this first one is millet cheese. Wow, making cheese out of millet? Who here knows what millet is?
Green.
Yeah, or a seed. It's probably a seed. But here is what millet looks like. It's in bird seed. If you buy most bird seeds, that's what the main ingredient is. But it's extremely healthy. It's not a complete protein like quinoa is, but it's still very healthy. It's a good source of protein. It also has many vitamins, folic acid, zinc, and iron. It does contain something called goitrogens, which supposedly if you have thyroid issues, you shouldn't be eating a lot of millet. Now, if you have it occasionally, and you're not eating it 3 times a day, you're going to be fine. But for somebody, again, you want to be careful if you have thyroid issues. Millet also keeps the skin nice and healthy, as does avocados and mangoes. Okay, well, let's look at this first recipe. It's called millet cheese. These are so easy, and we're just going to throw these ingredients in. I have those over there if you want any copies. What we have is millet cooked up, usually 1 cup of millet to 3 cups of water, and cook it over about an hour. I'll just put it on. I always soak my grains. I think I told you that before. Soak it in the morning, and then in the afternoon or whenever I get back, I'll get it started. Bring it to a boil, turn it down to low for an hour. And then we also have something called Irish moss. Have you ever heard of such a thing? Or agar-agar. That's going to be our thickening agent for this recipe. And some of these are weird ingredients, but if you get it one time, like I got mine at Cafe Gratitude. Have you heard of that restaurant? Yes. You can get it there, and I just blended it with water, and I put it in ice cubes, and then just put them in cubes as I use them. And so this is my thickening agent. So I have several of those downstairs. And again, 2 to 3 tablespoons for that. And then it has you'll see a lot of these have cashews. I told Rick when he was in town I needed cashews. A plant-based cook's kitchen without cashews is a true emergency. I said, emergency, cashews. So, and then the next thing we have in here is a tablespoon of lemon juice. And then we have some sea salt. Or, what other kinds of salts can you use? Himalayan, rock salt, whatever. And then 3 tablespoons of nutritional yeast flakes. For those of you who haven't been here in the past, yeast flakes are high in B12. If it says it's fortified, you always want to check that. Nutritional yeast and 1/8 of a teaspoon of garlic powder. And I always say recipes are what? Guidelines. Yeah, they're just suggestions. You can, kind of play around with this. And then onion powder. I don't know if yours ever gets hard and gets the lumps in them like this, or is that just my kitchen that happens?
No, it happens all over.
Okay, it happens all over. But what's nice in here with these recipes, you can kind of take those lumps because it's all going to get taken care of in there. So 1.5 teaspoons of that, and then a 4-ounce jar of the pimentos, because this is what's going to color it. And then some liquid smoke, some hickory smoke seasoning, a cap full of this, and that's going to give you your smoked flavor. Okay, that's all the ingredients. Is that not easy?
Amino acid?
I don't think it would have the same flavor. You can try it though. Give it a whirl and see what happens. Okay, here we go. that is that. Was that not easy? And my lovely assistant is going to put that in the pans. And this is what I usually do. I usually take one of these little bread pans and line it and put it in there. And when it's all said and done, I did one loaf last night. And so when you can take it out and put it on a little plate, and you've got sliceable cheese. So, isn't that cool? Now, if you leave it out, it will get soft. But it's better than Velveeta. When you look at what's in Velveeta. So, any questions on that one?
Can you heat it?
Probably not on this one.
Okay.
But I have come across one that you can.
No cheese. Yeah.
So is this just like for cheese and crackers?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah, and you'll get to try them and see what you think. Okay.
Let's just throw all these ingredients together.
Agar. I haven't heard that term since high school science.
Oh.
I don't remember.
Huh?
You're back here.
No, that's what we put our.
We have a community of Vitamixes, so neighbors were kind enough to share with me. This next one is a potato carrot cheese sauce. And this one too is really easy. 2 cups of cooked potatoes. So I'm just gonna do 2. I probably should come up a little bit, but the Vitamix will take care of that. And then I was a little short on carrots, but it should have about 1 cup's worth. That might be a little short, but we're close. And then we have a 1/2 cup of water, 1/3 cup of olive oil, a teaspoon of salt. That's a little sticky to get out of there now, isn't it?
Yeah, but it smells really good.
Oh, it is good. Teaspoon of salt. And then we have a tablespoon of lemon juice. You'll see lemon juice in a lot of these recipes. And then 1/2 cup of nutritional yeast. Here again, you'll find that in a lot of these recipes. Onion powder, again, and garlic powder. So we're going to do 1/4 teaspoon of this one. Or 1/2. There you go.
What's the shelf life of these cheeses?
They're never around long enough to go bad in this house. I would think 1 to 2 weeks because there's no preservatives. 1/4 cup of garlic powder, 1/2 teaspoon of mustard. That's not cayenne pepper. Whew.
And what are you making?
This is a potato carrot cheese sauce. These are all different, so you can try them and see what you like. And then we have some turmeric. And what's that turmeric going to do for us?
That's cholesterol.
It's going to color it.
Does it not cut down cholesterol? I take the turmeric.
Yes, yes.
Pill every day.
Yes, and it's an anti-cancer
Yeah.
agent.
Have you ever had turmeric tea?
I take a teaspoon when I'm achy or something's hurting. I will just take a teaspoon in water
Okay.
and just
Does it taste?
It tastes terrible, but I know it's good for me.
Because when they're talking about the tea, I'm thinking, oh,
Yeah.
this tastes.
And this is
Smell
just
bad.
cayenne pepper. Okay, so we're going to whisk this. Thank you, Deborah, for bringing your blender.
He called you first.
Oh. Okay, now with this one, which I can't wait for you to try, it's so creamy. So the variation I have done with this one is I add a can of Rotel. And so and that's in that one right there for you to try. So you can try it with or without the Rotel. And that's pretty awesome. Okay. I won't need to right at the moment. Okay. And the next one we're going to do, it's just fun to try all these because then you can figure out, well, which one do you want? Which one do you like? This one is Miko's. Miko's is Miyokos. Miko's Nacho Cheese. If you go on her website, she has a booming business of selling aged vegan cheeses. That's her whole business. If you go online, she has all these videos how to make her cheeses. And so, anyway, this is one of her recipes. I tried her mozzarella cheese, which you could melt. It does melt. You can slice it. But I didn't have one ingredient, and I can't remember. It was a type of casein, a healthy casein, and I couldn't find anybody had it, and I did not want to order it. So there we go.
Okay.
I didn't have it.
So I'm making that recipe just without that ingredient?
Oh no, that was the mozzarella cheese.
Oh, okay.
This is her nacho cheese, and so with this one we have a cup of butternut squash. And if you want to know what squash that is, it is this one right here. Because Rick picked one up for me, and then I said, oh, that's not the right one. And lo and behold, it was the right one. So, just for you to know, that is butternut. And then 1/4 of a cup of raw cashews, 1/2 an onion, and 3/4 of a cup of soy yogurt. And this you can get also at the health food store. And 3/4 of a cup of water. 4 tablespoons of nutritional yeast. And 3 tablespoons of tapioca flour. Now this is easy to get. You can get this at most any health food store. And this gives it the kind of stretchiness like cheese has. So 1, 2. Now this one, Renelle, I'm going to have you put on the stove, and it needs to be cooked till it gets thick. After it's done doing this thing. I hope that onion got a old 1-2 in there. I don't know if you've ever done things in your Vitamix and then there's chunks because it didn't quite get in there. Yeah.
If you just left it running in the Vitamix, let the Vitamix cook it, I wonder if that would look.
I've not ever done that.
From the Vitamix, but you can put hot water in it that really take it.
And here is this. So I'll let you turn this on. Now, let me do one more thing. The cheese, it calls for to make it taste like cheese because cheese is high in what did we learn? And salt. It's high in salt. And so if we want it to taste like real cheese, we're going to go ahead and add the salt because we want this to be cheese-like. And so it recommended 2 to 3 teaspoons. And I know for me, I don't eat much salt. And so I just tonight opened up some beans, so you'd have some beans and cheese to have. And I about choked. There was so much salt in those beans. So, but we'll throw some in here. There we go. It's all yours. Okay. Wasn't that one easy? Wow. Wow, wow.
Was your butternut squash cooked or raw?
Yes. No. I cooked that. Yeah, I had that all. Yeah. If all this prep work were done, wouldn't that be awesome? The little elves would come and have everything set up for you.
Yes.
The last one I want to do is the easiest, the absolute easiest of them all. This is a raw cheese sauce, requires no cooking. I make this one quite a bit. This one is a nacho raw dip, and all it has is 1 cup. I'm doubling this. What do you think the peppers do? Gives it the color. And then it has 1 cup of cashews, which again I doubled it. And it's good to soak your nuts. Rinse them and soak them. So cashews are high in fat, just to let you know. But it's what kind of fat? A good fat. And then a cup of nutritional yeast, and then the juice from a lemon, and then a teaspoon of salt. Teaspoon of salt. For each, and I'm doubling it, so we're going to double this. Okay, now, this is subject to taste, crushed peppers, because I've gotten too much of this in there, a time or two. So, and I don't like things real hot. So we're just going to put just a little bit in, and here we go. That's all there is to this one. Okay, that's it. So, doesn't that look like real cheese too? Wow.
It does.
And it tastes so good. And it's raw. I mean, it has all your enzymes. Do you remember what I talked about? When you cook food, you lose your enzymes. And so we want the food as raw as we can. Okay, those are all the cheeses. And the last thing I just want to talk about, I think of cheese, and I also think of cheesecake. Cheese pie, cheesecake. And I made one for you. I'm so sorry, audience, that you can't be here trying all these things.
We're like Oprah, and we're going,
Yes! Oprah, eat your heart out. Anyway, this is lime and vanilla vegan cheesecake. So I can't wait for you to try it. And I made some coconut Cool Whip with fresh blueberries to go on top. It will be a treat. So I just wanted to talk about what is in here because I knew I wouldn't have time. But the crust, I make a lot of date nut crusts. For this one, it has dates, sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds, almonds, and coconut oil. Anytime you use the coconut oil and the dates, it binds it. So I probably should have gotten it out earlier because it's going to be a little hard to cut through. The filling is just tofu, raw cashews, fresh lime juice, coconut oil, and maple syrup and vanilla. That's all that's in that innards. And then again, I did the coconut Cool Whip. And I just wanted to share, I've always made the coconut Cool Whip with the maple syrup, 2 tablespoons of maple syrup per can. I found out as I was doing a food demo this weekend and we didn't have maple syrup, honey works great. And it gives it a white color, like real Cool Whip. So anyway, you can try that. Anyway, any questions at all?
You do, sure.
And I just thank Renelle again for being my awesome assistant here in the background. And thank you for attending Vivi's Vegan Venue. And until next time, have a good evening. Thank you.